Jason Rzucidlo reporting inside the Fillmore right here in downtown Detroit. Stay tuned for highlights from the 2010 Motorsports Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
With your master of ceremonies for this evening, the voice of ISC Speedways and Michigan International Speedway, Jim Mueller.
Well, as usual, we have some beautiful racing machines on the stage tonight. First is the Budweiser King Funny Car, masterminded by Dale Armstrong and driven by 2009 Hall of Famer Kenny Bernstein. The car comes courtesy of the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. Rich Vogler's Midget with a Cosworth engine. This fine vehicle comes to us from Gold Cup champion and midget driver Hall of Famer Tom Deef. Driven to victory by Hall of Famer Maury Rose in the 1941 Indy 500, the Knockout Hose Clamp Special was driven in 1946 to the first of 3 fifth-place finishes in Indy by Joie Chitwood. This car comes courtesy of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And finally, the Honda motorcycle you see flying overhead is a replica of the bike that Jeremy McGrath rode to victory in 1995, courtesy of Dave Bowman and the Tech Care Incorporated right here in Detroit. Our first induction this evening is in the drag racing category. As a driver in the 1970s, Dale Armstrong won 12 NHRA national events, the 1974 U.S. Nationals, and a season championship in 1975. Here to present the horsepower bronze to Dale Armstrong is Motorsports broadcaster and longtime voice of NASCAR and the IRL on ABC and ESPN, Marty Reid.
Thank you, Jim. Good evening, everyone. This is an evening I've been waiting for, and I think a lot of people have for a long time. My congratulations to all the inductees. This is a special moment and a night for all of you. And before I start, I do have to go back to last night because, Mr. Ken Squier, you said last night, you asked the question, why am I here? I don't know that I deserve this. Let me tell you that for all of us who are privileged enough to do what we do with motorsports play-by-play, none of us will ever fill the footprint you left behind. Now I want to talk about Double A. Double A, Dale Armstrong. Isn't that one bad machine? I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about the car. Ron sent us this note, Ron Watson. He said, okay, I don't want you talking about the statistical side, the historical side. We'll do that in the video, as you saw, they did a nice job. We want you to talk about the personal side. And oh, by the way, do it in 2 minutes. Ron, you're talking and looking at a guy who talks for 4 hours at a time. This is going to be a challenge. We'll do the best we can. I was thinking about the fact that 2010 begins the 5th decade that I've had the privilege of knowing Dale Armstrong. And I was racking my brain for stories because there are so many things I've learned from this guy. I mean, the things that he brought to the sport of drag racing, twin magnetos, lock-up clutch, the box, the race pack, all this stuff. I mean, it's just amazing. The mind is just incredible. But I kept coming back to the same story. It was the very first time I ever met Dale. I was a young reporter in 1976, age 5. All right, 10. I was working for the NBC affiliate, Columbus, Ohio, and Dale was running Procom at the Spring Nationals. It was run at National Trail Raceway. It was a qualifying run. He gets to about the 1,000-foot mark, and I mean, this thing explodes into a fireball. And if it had been a night event, he'd have lit up the whole county. The chutes burned off faster than NASA could get the shuttle into orbit. And for all of you who know about National Trail Raceway, it was a very short, shut-down area. And somehow, with this thing ablaze, he gets it stopped. He flies out of the cockpit. He's on fire, and God bless the NHRA Safety Safari, like they've always done for over 60 years. They were right there, put the flames out. I grab my cameraman and I go back to the pit. I get there just in time for Dale to politely tell the EMTs that he was going to decline their courtesy ride to the hospital. And he's doing this with 2 ice packs on his eyes. And I'm thinking, oh man, I hate doing this, but I'm a young reporter. If I don't get this story, I'm going to be in trouble. So I get bold enough and I look down and I go, Dale, you feel like talking? And I fully expected to get the largest part of my anatomy handed back to me. And without missing a beat, he takes the ice packs down from his singed hands. And he looks up at me and says, sure, let's do it. Now the look on my face was not the astonishment that Dale was agreeing to do the interview. It was the astonishment that this man had no eyebrows, he had no eyelashes, and the welts around his eyes were still bubbling. But this was the cool, calm demeanor that he had. And I thought to myself, this is one tough SOB. And as I continued to go down this road with him and our paths continued to crisscross, I realized that cool, calm demeanor was all about Dale Armstrong. That's the way he always was. I mean, I'm sure he's gotten up on the tire sometime in his life, but he never, ever did it at the track. And if you look at all the people we're honoring tonight and all those past inductees, that is the common denominator that they share. When the world seems to be collapsing around everyone else, they're able to focus and they're able to do the job. And in my opinion, when it came to the combination of driving and tuning, there's nobody that's done it better than the man I am so proud, so privileged to honor tonight, to present to you for induction into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, AA, Mr. Dale Armstrong.
Boy, you'd think he was introduced with Superman, wouldn't you? How do I follow that, or how do I live up to that? I got some notes, usually I don't. But I just sort of ad-lib or fumble through it, but this one's pretty important. And first off, I want to thank Marty, because he was always a big supporter of mine. I want to thank you very much, Marty, for that. And I want to thank, he was a large part of the influencing the nominating committee and the panel that voted to get me into this, so I got to thank him for that also. I also want to recognize Tom Compton and Graham Light. Tom Compton's the president of the NHRA. The senior vice president of competition is Graham Light, who we argued with a few times. You know, he was always the guy that was telling me I couldn't do this and couldn't do that. We're both from Canada, so we got some pretty good arguments. I grew up in Western Canada and I was always obsessed with cars. Got so much of what Chip said up here earlier is so true. I mean, I grew up obsessed with cars, and I don't see it today out of the young people, and I don't know how we're going to change that. I hope some smart people do it though, because that's what creates all of these motorsports, is the young kids coming up. And I was always obsessed. We had drag strips up in Canada.